I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this, Alden. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1.
Man. Yeah. That right there. That is a stash, my friend. That is a statement stash, I would even say. What statement is it saying? Unclear.
Probably the wrong ones.
It's saying, say your prayers, eat your vitamins. Believe what was stand up. I don't even remember the whole bit. Say your prayers. Eat your vitamins.
Say your prayers. Hi everybody.
How many inches are your big pythons?
Probably about 13. I don't know. About 13.
Yeah, it's a lot. We got some screenshots happening here, so unfortunately, Mustache Ken will live on.
I took a good photo last time. Yeah.
This is a lot, and you sent me a text. Maybe like a half hour before the show saying, hey, just so you know, I have a mustache right now and everything. And I was telling you, like, well, this is also a change for me. I haven't shaved. This is
that's hilarious.
Day one of working on something new. The last time I protested and was like, I'm not shaving. When COVID lockdown started, I said, I'm not cutting my hair or shaving until there's a vaccine. And I kept it going for a long time. And my hair got long, and oh boy, I look like a joke, quite frankly. I look like a bum. It was not great. So you look better than that.
Yeah, well, so this is a super chat bet run amok over on the Blathering, and I was supposed to do this yesterday before the show, and just with the serious, and we're gonna have we're gonna have a very serious conversation today. Very bad time, and it's horrible. There was an absolute murder in front of our eyes. We're gonna talk about that. So I want to but also it just. This is where we're at, and I got money was involved, Alden. So I was like, I can't renege on a bet or a super chat dare on a show. But I'm here with this silly mustache talking about serious things, so I apologize for that. But
no, I mean I get it, man. This is the weird time. You put out a great reel that is both a comedy piece in and of itself, but also like a commentary on promo right now, and just doing sort of like what we do. And I think the mustache is part of that. Like the world is dark, but within it, through all evil times, people have always danced and they've always laughed. There was a Conan quote that's going around right now, probably from his podcast, saying, "If you just go to anger and F Trump every single time, you're taking away some of your best tools." And right now, this mustache, someone laughed. Multiple people probably laughed. You spread joy.
Oh man!
And you know what? It's actually kind of relevant because I'm replaying Star Wars Jedi Survivor. I don't know if you ever finished that one. I know you played the first one.
I finished both. I finished both of them. Yeah, even though I don't love them as much, I do like the characters and stories. I finished both of them. Yeah.
Gotcha. So in Survivor, as you know, you get to customize Cal, change his look a little bit. That exact stash that you have is available in the game, and it just completely it changes the tone of the entire experience.
Yeah,
I go from being like young, like this young rascal Cal Kestis, like trying to make my way in the war. The second I equip that stash, he's like divorced. Like it changes everything. It changes everything.
I'm telling you, I look like I should get in a Cybertruck. And Addie's right. The color gradient. So I haven't done this since probably I was in the wrestling and security days. I used to occasionally do this for Tex Tunney, my wrestling character, but it was all one color, or it was like red and brown and black. But now we got the gray wigs. It's a choppy. I did this real fast. It's a choppy cut down here, but there we go. It's fun. It's not the crux of the show. We're going to talk about what is the ongoing story in Minnesota, also in Portland. I honestly don't know much about that, but I also think there is not as much out there yet. But correct me if I'm wrong about that. But the Conan interview clip. Did you see the full context of the clip and everything?
No, I haven't yet. No.
It's fascinating because I think you could misinterpret what he was saying. Imagine that on the internet, someone misinterpreting what you say. But I think it was really valuable because he was talking about the some things being beyond parody and lampoon as a Harvard Lampoon person, and that not that the anger is bad or that you can't say fuck Trump, But that maybe there's more in your tool shed to fight beyond just the anger. It was I thought it was pretty good. So check it out.
I'll check it out. I mean, there was also Conan, the episode, the infamous episode with Jim Downey. For those of you that don't know, legendary SNL writer. For those of you that don't know, that's the meme of the old man saying Jeff Epstein, the New York financier.
The New York financier.
That's who we're talking about. In that episode, they talk about John Mulaney's horse in a hospital Trump bit, and how it's such a great example of a Trump bit because it doesn't come from a place of anger at all. It just comes from a place of bewilderment, and he doesn't even really talk about the man. Yeah. And I think that there's still, even now, even amidst darkness, there's still value to making fun of them, having a laugh. You know, still need to play games, you still need to consume art, you still need to watch movies. Have already, today's the 9th. I've already seen, every year I try to hit one movie per day a year for the whole year, get that 365. I've yet to do it. I got into the 340s, I got into the 320s. So I've watched a movie every day so far this year, even with the horrible stuff right now that's going on. And it makes you feel weird, but at the same time, like, they want you to be a demoralized husk. Like, you know, I said that on Blue Sky because I was having, you know, I've obviously had very dark thoughts this week, as everybody has, but I was having specifically dark thoughts compounding on the society dark thoughts. And then I thought, let me just, you know, talk to people, see if anybody cares. And I said on Blue Sky what I do believe, which is, like, if you can't find a reason to hold on right now in that realm of enjoyment, spite also works. Like, they want you gone. They would love it if you gave up. They would love it if you just disappeared. They don't care about you. They don't have health care. They don't care if you get, you know, shot, evidently. So keep that in mind. Like, they would love it if you checked out. They would love it if you just hid in the hole, declared bankruptcy, disappeared, or worse, you know, fully checked out early. Don't give them the satisfaction. Stay in it. Get a silly ass mustache. You know, what you got to do. Just putting that out there before we get into, like, the dark stuff.
No, I think you're right, and it seems, I think it seems that it's trite, but if you're plugged in enough, you know, if you're understanding what's going on, it's not even. I like your angle on it there. It's not even just about protecting yourself. It's in your own well-being, but like, what are we fighting for, right? What's the sun on the other side of the darkness? What is it? So, anyways, but it's I mean, it's trying enough. Coming out of the actions in Venezuela, potential actions in Greenland, Cuba, and the destruction of the post-World War II order. That's enough of a headline. But then you've got absolute horror and tragedy playing out in front of our eyes. It can do damage.
Yeah, I mean, we were off last week, and that was, of course, when the Venezuela situation erupted into its current form, which, you know, we shouldn't have to say this, but of course, illegal war crimes, like, not that any of that stuff matters anymore. Not that any of these terms matter, because they only matter if they're enforced, and the ICC and the UN hasn't really. They don't, like, they say these things, but, like, the example is, like, Netanyahu, like, there's warrants out for his arrest. Did any of the European nations that are now condemning what could happen in Greenland arrest him at any opportunity that they've had? No, because really the ICC is just to go after, you know, evil people that are black. That's what it is. It's for African warlords. They won't say that, but, you know, everyone else's warrant is just for show. So I don't expect any consequences for what's happening in Venezuela. I don't expect any consequences for what could happen in Colombia, Mexico, Greenland, Cuba, all the other places that the peace president threatened. President of peace.
And remember, our only limit is his own morality, as he said.
Well, my goodness. You know, he definitely doesn't respect age limits, so I guess the moral limits is going to have to be what it is. It's just a phenomenal time. What's that David Lynch quote? It's a amazing time if you love theater of the absurd. That's how it feels. And because Venezuela happened, then obviously that could be a whole episode in of itself, and it's already a little bit of an older story. But that was, like you said, I mean, the destruction of the post-war order. And we also said that when he tried to shame and emasculate Zelensky in the Oval Office. That was also the destruction of the post-world order.
Yeah, like, remember those happy times?
Yeah, I remember that from months ago. yeah, like they've undone everything. They've turned it into a parody of a state. I mean, they're running it like Team America. They are absolutely just wanting doing things and then admitting, like that's the thing, is that they're doing the work for us. Like during Trump 1, we had to do a lot of convincing, and obviously it didn't work. But now in Trump 2, we'll say, hey, they're doing this to kill people to take your oil. And then people will be like, no, they're not. And then here comes Trump. Yeah, we're doing it to take your oil. Like, okay. So it's a fascinating moment in terms of that, where there are two worlds has never been more clear. It's also happening with this murder. They don't operate in the same world that we do, and this is sort of I think the peak of it. Invading another country and open regime change, even without because at least when Bush did it, I'm not trying to give Bush credit, but what I'm saying is, it's like, this goes to show how different the American right wing has become, is that back then they had to manufacture a lot of consent. There was a lot of rah suskumba after what happened.
Speech, like hearings. Like I remember, Colin Powell holding up maps. You know what I mean?
Yes, hearings. There was the let's all stand here. There's the more conservative end of the celebrity space of like, let's go after the then Dixie chicks. Let's go after
the damn Dixie chicks. Yeah, absolutely.
Everything was, can you get on board with this thing we must do? We don't bother with that anymore. And so now we're like, I don't want to say perfect in a good way, but like, it makes so much sense to me that this illegal invasion and the murder that happened this week happened back to back, because they are kind of like married inevitable conclusions. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. You'd saying some stuff that's interesting that I never, if you know the history or just, and I'm talking about, you're not like a historian that got your PhD, but if like you are one of those white dudes with this kind of mustache that watches World War II docs late at night, there is, we know more about our actions in other countries. There's a long list of what we do in Latin America, and it's all wrong. It's all problematic, and it's all just morally wrong, and everything about it. Even how this country started. You can go on and on and on down the list. I think there's almost like I want to, and hear me out when I say this, I almost want to like thank this current Trump administration for just being so out in the open so that the lines are clear, not in terms of the world, but in terms of the conversations you have with the people around you. Because they're just like, this is no longer couched in anything. This is no longer, well, your history teacher might not have taught you what went down in Puerto Rico or the Philippines. We're just going to tell you right now what we're doing.
Yes.
And then it's tweaking my mind a little bit. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's one of those things where, and I don't want to come into the conversation about the murder, especially from a place of like, only people with like left or progressive politics are upset about it, or only because like, obviously conservative people, they're not all killers. They're not all like, I'm not trying to get into like that. I am saying that this administration is, which is sort of like, it's the not all Jews are Netanyahu's Israel of it all. It's the same sort of like logical break. It's the not all Christians are the Klan. It's the not all Muslims are. It's the same principle. I
agree.
But what I'm sort of building to saying is like, I am sort of like mind blown in some ways by how certain things that you hear, you hear them maybe during Trump 1 or during Biden, so let's say, 4-ish years ago to anywhere in the last decade, you hear something and you're like, I could see how that's kind of true, but it just gets more true. And one of those things is that to have, left-leaning beliefs, I'm paraphrasing, but it means like, it's getting angry about things because you're right too early. It's constantly being angry because you're proven that you were right too early. And one of those things about especially American imperialism is that for years, well before me and all, my age group discovered Bernie, which was sort of like the path into other thinking. Like I remember quite like exactly where I was, exactly who said it. I'm not going to throw her name out there because she's a teacher in Florida and who knows what could happen anymore. And I hate that I even have to have that feeling. But a teacher of mine was like, look, you guys got your first election coming up, because this was after we graduated, but we were visiting her, and she was like, look, I know you're supposed to support Hillary. She's like, why don't you guys look into into Bernie Sanders, because it was early in the rising of that first run. And in that, there's, you discover, oh, there's more than just the Democrats, and let's talk about the American empire. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about what we don't have, and right. everything. And it leads you out until you become a Sharia law commie, czar like Zoran, running New York City into the ground. By the way, already got one of his 3 promises in 8 days. And so now we're seeing everything that we said that we were told was alarmist or extreme or everything. One of those things being, this is an empire. Now you have the White House taking the official position of, quote, this is our hemisphere. Openly, with no pretense, building on what we were saying. So that's it's long
a talking
walk
point. It's a talking point.
Yeah, it's a long walk for me to say. It is part of the exhaustion is, I remember now it's been 10 years, a full 10 years of this era of Trumpian politics. And I remember 10 years ago making some of these points. And I remember 2020 making some of these points. And I now 2026 making some of these points again. And they've only been proven more and more right. And that is not, the word gaslighting isn't perfect there, because that's not actually what gaslighting means. Because someone has to be doing it to you actively, not just societal conditions. Not that words matter. I mean, we throw around Cameo for everything, even when that's not accurate. So
I'm on Cameo
again.
Oh, wait,
you are? Mustache with mustaches more, though, I assume. If you want video footage of that documented, double. But yeah, it's like that I think contributes to a lot of the exhaustion. So like when I saw this murder take place this week, I had many thoughts about what I was seeing, but I also had those wider thoughts of like, we told you this was going to happen, you did nothing. Like, I don't like to be the kind of woke skulled progressive that just like has to hate on Barack and Joe every day, even though I do.
You do.
But it's like I only, my anger for them doing nothing, particularly Biden, Harris, Garland, during that period grows now, because we have proven that again, laws don't matter if you don't enforce them. You allowed, it wasn't up for debate whether or not they were criminals. We knew they were. It was not up for debate. These are convicted felons. And you guys, in the name of this civility that you yourselves don't actually believe in, here we are. I mean, that was we took last week off, but that was the Zoran speech, like using the language of civility to like prop up a decorum to mask that you're a fucking asshole. And so now here we are, and people are dead because the Democrats spent the last 10 years agreeing to disagree with people that do not care. We are now at the point where it's like, we'll write a letter and the other side is saying, we'll shoot you in the head and get away with it.
Yeah. And there will not, I don't think there will be the justice we crave on this, unfortunately. Yeah. I actually think you're right. No, well said. I think you explained it, and you're making me think of, I had a high school teacher, economics, like history, maybe even my history teacher. I can't remember. God, I can't remember. And I remember in class in like 92, her getting upset at Reagan, and her frustration was palpable. And I, at the time, being a young, I think I'm a Republican kid, was like, but he was great. And she just was like, he fell asleep every day. Like she was like yelling at him. She's like, we didn't even have it. And I'm just,
she was ahead of her time.
Yeah. And so to hear you say now, and we're laughing because we have to, but like, I'm just like, yeah, I understand what you're saying. And part of this week was the inevitability of what has happened, and then again in the next day in Portland, and I think we'll have more soon.
Yes, I mean, and in between the incidents, sorry, I'm going to cut you off, but in between the incidents, important to note, they responded to this murder by then trying to do an operation on a high school. And
was that the Roosevelt High School?
Yeah, Roosevelt High. People being tossed down, staff members being thrown around and cuffed, students freaking out. Then they had to step in and cancel school. And the phrasing that I saw, that I shared, which I think people really should internalize and share with especially their relatives, is that a state had to close school for children, not a college, school for children, to protect those children from the federal government. There is no way around that language. Like, that is what happened.
I think Alden information like that, plainly stated, is very valuable in these times when having these conversations, which I know to almost an annoying point. I'm always like, how can you have this conversation? And you might say, and others might say, hey, there's no value to this conversation. Totally get it. But I think information, truths like that, stark truths removed from the situations, almost on paper, help maybe broadcast more. Again, I'm not even cynical about it. It's like, how do you untangle any of this there? How do you?
Sometimes it's just a tool you have to use, right? Like, because the thing about that verbiage that I like is that I'm not saying removed by Trump. I'm not saying Republicans. I'm not saying ICE. I'm saying the federal government, something that even a moron has an idea of what it is. Most of them don't know the branches. They don't know how it works, but they know that there's the feds. The federal government tried to go after kids, which they've done before. They tried this in LA at an elementary school, which should be even more horrifying to people. Barely made news, of course, because we've got to cover what are we talking about here? Like, the fact that pedophiles want oil. Like, duh. So we know that they admitted it. Like, we don't need to be spending time on this. And I know that there's legal reasons, but like, even with the shooting, this verbiage and language of like, well, there's going to be an investigation. Yeah, it should be the shortest one ever. It's the same as with, it takes a year to put a school shooter away. And it's like, what are we investigating here? Like, what actually are we doing? And part of that, again, is that our country, we're realizing now how much of it was done on the honor system since really like Reconstruction. Like, it has been a loose amount of guidelines. I was talking about this with my mom the other day too, because my mother, in her ever expanding wokeification, as she becomes more and more woke, almost exclusively because of her children.
Is there a pill for that? How do you stop?
Yeah, can we? How do we get her back to where she was? I slowly dragged her from the Hillary camp over into pure unadulterated rage, where sometimes even I have to be like, Jesus, all right, like, and she was like, what really throws me is that I just thought that I thought that there were laws. I thought that it was such an innocent thing to say, but like, I really felt it. Like, she was like, I thought that there were laws. I thought they worked. And I'm like, yeah, well, what you're realizing now is that it doesn't. Like, you can have these systems in place that allow for the vice president to make stuff up about immunity, and there's no consequences for lying about that. I mean, you expand that out. I mean, for how much we haven't done. Like, we talk a lot about, oh, there's no qualifications to be president. Like, that's how we got here. They didn't define the job enough. There's a literal Nazi trying to be a senator here in Florida right now. I'm calling him one because I think he's doing Nazi stuff. I mean a literal one. I mean a Indiana Jones to beat the shit out of him by right one, who's running here with zero opposition. And the fact that that is even allowed is the mark of a failed state. When we allow that to happen in a place with brown people and we put a yellow filter over the footage and like a camel, like, there's always a cutaway to that camel and it's always like hazy and like the effect always looks like this. Like those places when they
coming off the ground.
Yeah. When they have an evil party that exists and that party gets to participate, we're always like, how do they allow that? How have they not reined that party in? And here it's like Heiling Hitler and I'm going to be a senator. And that is never checked. And so of course, ICE is killing people. People should have an of course reaction to this that turns their stomach. It shouldn't be, this is not who we are. It should be, this is exactly who we are. This is what we earned. We slowly built to this woman's extrajudicial execution in broad daylight. That is what we earned. It was in fact intentional, and it's not a mistake.
Yeah, no, you take me to a lot of spots that I agree, and a lot of it is I have a big push, and it's not necessarily even here this show. I have a big push of like, what's effective? What are the solutions? What's the goals? Is it change? Is it changing votes? Is it winning elections? I don't know, and I leave that to even smarter next generation folks like you. I'm just saying, like I had this, I don't know how to say it. Like it's dumb because I have this mustache on for a bet, but like I remember kind of getting into a little bit of a tiff with a family member because when Hulk Hogan passed, Terry Bollea, I was not, I even spoke out on him post death. Got some heat in my comments of like his body's not even cold, and his family, how could you? And I used to be a fan, and I'm leaving you now. I got some of that, not a hero, whatever. But in talking, one of my family members was like, "Oh, because they knew I was a wrestling fan and also in wrestling." We're like, "Oh, so sorry. You must. I know you're probably a fan." I was like, "Nah, he's a racist piece of shit." No,
Yep.
I'm not saying I'm happy that he died in a heart attack. I'm just saying, like, no, no. And they were so aghast. How could you say that? And oh, anyone who disagrees with you is a racist or a Nazi. And it's like, you're saying that because you don't know. And stuff. You're like the guy, the Nazi running in your state. All that, I don't think they know. And I have a drive to make sure they know so that we can. I don't know if clarity helps. I don't know. And in the face of this week, I don't know. I think I've learned that me trying to be clear is not taken right a lot of like what is actually here, what is actually going on. And it's like, no, I'm saying Hulk Hogan's racist because there's a lot of history of it. And you're not even aware he got caught on tape saying what he said. You have no idea. So you're judging me and debating me off something you don't know. And I'm just trying to give a fact to you.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I've had people that were supposedly my friends tell me that in my efforts to be clear about fucking Star Wars, that you just come off like you're telling people what to think. It's like, no, I have to hold hands and write 8 tweets when I should only have to write 4 because I have to be so thorough to guide the media illiterate to a simple point about, I don't know, fucking Boba Fett. And so it's like when you expand that out now into the world, it's like you do have to sort of handhold these people. But then I feel that anger that immediately bubbles up of like, okay, we have that drive to make sure they know and to be thorough and to be clear and to have clarity in a time where people don't actually want clarity. But then I flash back again. We're at 2026 now. So everything feels like we love decades, right? We're always like, oh, the last 10 years. I look at 10 years ago, the president of the United States admitted that he rapes women on a tape that we all heard, and people wouldn't drop him then. So I'm supposed to believe that they drop him now? Like, I looked down on my phone, someone texted me, and you'd already seen this clip, I haven't seen it yet. The body cam or phone footage.
His cell phone footage,
cell phone footage of Jonathan Ross is the officer's name, murderer, and his last words to her are "fucking bitch,"
right?
And her last words to him is that she's not even mad at him,
right?
And then the vice president of the United States goes up and says she's a radical leftist agitator who brought this on herself or whatever. And we're supposed to believe that we can achieve a clarity with them. I really don't know, but we have to keep trying, because if we don't, then it just allows the other reality to exist. So they have us in this moment of like, we have to both be fighting them and also rehabbing them. And I'm going to say something now that's going to sound like I'm trying to make a joke, but I do mean it seriously. I'm going to bring up a nerdy thing, but I mean it like in a literary sense. Like, this is why it's very frustrating and annoying, this very common internet criticism of like, why doesn't Bruce Wayne just use all his billions of dollars to clean up Gotham with social programs and everything? And it's like, because the push and pull of the narrative is that he has to fight them while also having too much empathy to put them down for good. And that's the tension. The tension is that he has to be both their opponent and also the one that wants them to be rehabbed more than anybody else. But they both need to be true. And also, if you read a fucking comic book, he spends a lot of money on social programs. But like, it's just, we're at that point. Like, it's a stupid thing. There's literally the Wayne Foundation is a thing in the movies and the comics, and fucking people online always want to bitch and moan about what he does and doesn't do. But
I'm laughing because it seems trite because it's Batman in comics, but as I always say, how you view pop culture is how you view culture.
Yes.
And I cite examples all the time in real life and off and on air of well, in Star Wars it's this. Well, it's like the thing in Game of Thrones. It's like, because that does break it down to a point. Yeah,
it's a reflection. It's how we like. I'm not a dying to see the new Avatar film by James Cameron, but like, those films are directly about situations that we are seeing in Venezuela, like 1,000,000% about those things. And while Star Wars has a lot to comment on what we're talking about in terms of fascism and everything, Cameron is specifically talking about a resource grab in a more specific way. And so it's like everything relates back to how you view things. So yeah, so like I do feel sometimes like we're in that situation of we have to beat them and they would love to exterminate us, and we have to defeat them and destroy them. And we probably do need to run 28 on a prosecute these motherfuckers stance. But at the same time, we have to rehabilitate them, and they're not going to do it for themselves. And we also have to be the empathetic ones. And to be both, it's like, that's that'll make you understand some stuff, right? Like, how many times have you and I been frustrated? And I don't want to speak for them, they're not here, but also Joseph Scrimshaw, Jennifer Landa, you guys on Force Center of Justice for the Jedi, of like, people don't understand, like, they're the bad guys. It's like, it is a lot to protect the people that hate you and also want the best for them, but also sometimes have to fight them, and something like, there's a lot there emotionally, and that's where we're at sometimes with the American right now.
Well said. And actually, I appreciate some of the expanded clarity on just your general view of it, and it helps me understand the frustration even more of both the correct and rehab. And I think I definitely have areas of my life in which I think I have a different kind of experience perspective to meet some folks on that kitchen table conversation that maybe you don't even have the desire for anymore, right? Because you've had them in your own ways. So I'm excited to still, like, excited is a weird word, but like, as I go forward, like, hey, I think I have an idea on how do I change your vote? And I don't even know that helps. We all have to find our lanes. We all have to find our battles. But the overall picture that you're explaining really well to me right now is that it's been ongoing. It is exhausting, and it is complicated in the sense of you are not just here to defeat someone in an election. You're here to try to get the people behind them to understand a better path, which is nearly impossible and frustrating, and then brings out the anger in you, right?
It
brings out the then fuck it, let's fight type of thing,
and it's poisonous. It's poisonous because I don't want to speak for you, but like, I felt like, let's just keep the culture going, the pop culture talk tie-ins. Like, I felt, especially summer of last year, that like with Superman and everything, that we were heading toward maybe we can kindness our way out of it. And like, I think we should still shoot there, like, shoot for the moon. Worst that can happen is that you land amongst the stars. Like, I do think that we should want to lead with kindness and empathy, but I'm at that point now where it's like 10 years ago or 5 years ago, when the fight was there, I was like, yeah, fuck him, I'll fight him. Like, I was so in it for the scrap. And now I feel regretful. Like, the scraps now feel regretful. It feels pathetic and sad. Like, it feels like smiting a creature that's just like too far gone. It's really, really depressing that we arrived at this place. But like you said, like, you have that, like, you're energized now to try it in different ways, because it is sort of like motivating. I also have felt, as we often do respond to tragedies, I have felt extra energized this week after, I petered out. Like, the last quarter of 2025, I pulled back on my posting. I was just tired. I was like, maybe I'll forgive people. Maybe I'll try to just like be more low key. By the way, forgiveness, I don't know about it. TBD on forgiveness, man. It's been mixed bag. But it's painful. And then, just as the specifics of it, like, we have all seen the footage. Contrary to what Homeland says, there does not exist an angle of them being stuck in the snow that I've seen. There does not exist an angle of him being hit that I've seen, run down by a weaponized vehicle. There does not exist signs of agitation. There does not exist signs of riots, which was also the word that they used. She was a rioter. That is a street. The street outside of my house after you turn out is more congested right now with nothing going on than that road was. Every single thing that they said was a lie. And of course, context, ICE is an organization that's younger than Shrek. Like, this is not and Homeland too. Homeland has been around for less time than the prequel era of Star Wars. That is not an organization that is like so built into the fabric of this nation. Like, so everybody can relax about like our hallowed halls and all that bullshit that people love to bring up, as if there are no old men with Homeland Security baseball caps. And if there are no old man with a baseball cap for it, then it doesn't fucking matter, as far as I'm concerned. That's my criteria. Is there an old man with a hat? If there's not, I don't want to hear it.
I get you. That's great.
And so these new organizations that are younger than me, which come from, again, wars that were built on lies. They come from that same administration and that same era.
Yeah.
These organizations now have, according to the vice president, the ability to just execute people. And so, and the press briefing on it was a joke, but the only question that really had any merit, I thought, was even if she is a radical leftist in a network, like that doesn't mean that she should be shot, right? And then JD Vance, well, of course not, but like, you know,
Right.
Like,
yeah,
they don't care.
I guess I don't want to get into it again, but that's also kind of my point of actually breaking down what's in the video and how that makes it what they did even worse. The cascading violation of policies, the culture in which they are raised and trained in. And by the way, the guy was a 10-year vet, so there's a lot of good questions about their lack of training. But 10 years on the job in an agency is enough to know better, if that makes any sense. But yeah, it's not. There's a great video out. I recommend her constantly. Check out Legion Miller, who is a YouTuber, a lawyer, but he's literally 2 blocks away from the incident. Her home studio is 2 blocks away. She's raised there. And she just kind of breaks down part of the fight of where to go from here, which is a big thing for me, of like where to go from here. But anyways, you're saying some great stuff, Alden, and making sense. I always enjoy the ongoing clarity, but and we put Kirsty Noem in our thumbnail because I'm not here to change. I'm not here to change her, rehab her. I'm not here to change JD Vance, Mike Johnson, Mr. I haven't seen anything, and I got about 10 seconds to speak on this horrific tragedy, and I write it up. I'm not here to speak on that. I'm only here to try to kind of find the little cracks in the other parts of society where I can make a difference there, while also just being exhausted by everything going on and saddened. Sad, man.
It's sad. No, it's really sad. I mean, a little boy orphaned now because he had already lost his father previously. Family torn apart. Grandparents now have to raise this boy. They're in shock. And
I mean, it seems. I know I'm a dog. It seems, but the dog in the car, it just breaks. That's that little tiny thing that breaks my heart. Human life being the worst, and the son. But hear me out. Hear me. But and if you watch the cell phone footage from Jonathan Ross, the murderer, the dog's in there watching, and it's just and the stuffed animals in the thing, and it's heartbreaking.
And look, I don't want to. I struggle sometimes because it's so easy to fall into whataboutism.
Yeah,
but quite frankly, we're in a time of whataboutism, where it's like I said this on Blue Sky. I'll say it again. Had she been a hate mongering, lying sack of shit podcaster that they happen to like, we would not be in this scenario. The entire country would have come to a standstill, as we have now seen. So we have 3 incidents for a pattern. There are more, obviously, but like 2, maybe not. But like, let's look at this. Democratic lawmakers get assassinated by a guy impersonating one of these thugs. They go after 2 families. They successfully get one, husband, wife, and dog, all murdered. Nary a peep. Podcaster gets slimed in an incident that is not justifiable morally, and I don't agree with, and I wish it didn't happen, and I don't like murder, and I don't think anyone should be murdered. But in an incident that he not called for, but said was acceptable and okay, after doing nothing but spreading hate, and everything is like, let's be idolaters or whatever, and that's the greatest Christians in the world, let me tell you. And now we're here, and it's again someone that they don't like, nary a peep. So what we've seen now is that the All Lives Matter crowd is, as we both knew, full of shit. And it's not all lives, it's, are you a Christian white life? And and if we can get a little bit more out of you, a man. That's the trifecta that we really want. They'll now cap white women in the head in broad daylight and get away with it, because she happened to not vote Republican. And the fact that she also was, I don't want to throw labels around on someone that I didn't know and is now deceased, but queer, some on the spectrum of queerness, is, that's just another strike against, the deceased for these people. And they can make up lies, and they can say everything that they want, and the body's not even cold, and a little boy has no parents, and they can push their lies. But if you quote accurately somebody that they propped up for their propaganda machine, you can lose your job. Over 600 Americans lost their jobs for accurately speaking about Charlie Kirk. using his own words and talking points, just to do reporting. Over 600 people. Yeah. And now this can happen. And they want to say that both sides are the same. This is why I reject both sidesism, especially even from progressives like myself, of the, oh, well, it would be the same under Kamala. It would be that. No, it wouldn't. Would it be bad?
Correct.
Probably. I mean, she wouldn't have budged on some horrible shit. We know that. But would it be the same? Your head is up your ass if you're saying that it would be the same. You are being willfully ignorant.
Glad you
said. It's true. It's true. It is just demonstrably true, because yeah, it wouldn't be great, because the Joe Biden presidency wasn't great. And we've seen what the Democrats will do, particularly with Netanyahu. I'm not a fool about this. I'm not saying it would be good, but we would have people that at least understand the functions of their job. You wouldn't have Kash Patel. You wouldn't have Pam Bondi. You wouldn't have Kristi Noem. You wouldn't have Stephen Miller running the policy of this nation. You wouldn't have Marco Rubio handling our relations with the rest of the planet. Like, you're a fool if you think that the cabinet would look like that. You're just a fool. You might be a fool full of love. You might be like a Peregrine Took level fool, but a fool none the fucking less. So it's just like, I don't understand. Like,
I agree with you. I agree with you wholeheartedly, and I'm just gonna shut up about it more. But it's like, yeah, I don't know. I'm just gonna shut up. You know, it's like, even in this horrific case this week, I just want to be clear about like the language we use to describe it. This murder is going to lessen the I don't know. It's just, I guess in the conversations I'm planning to have when they pop up off camera, when I'm not playing a character in a podcast, because it still is you're right. This person was with her partner in a car filming these federal agents, which is a right they have. And you're right. At one point, they might have been blocking the car. And at one point, she did kind of, with adrenaline, slip the gas pedal, and it screeched. All that does not lead to murder. This was their policy breakdown, their bluster, their ego, their fear manifested as power because they know they're cowards. And that's the crime that led to murder. And that what you're going to try to say, what J.D. Vance is saying, with Kristi Noem and her fucking goddamn cowboy hat, and Mike Johnson with his grinder profile and his Bible, all the stuff they're saying are administrative paperwork words to clear this. We know that. Yep. But don't. So I'm going to meet you there and go, yeah, you're right. She was out there documenting this. You think that's the crime. That wasn't the crime. Yeah. That wasn't the crime. The breakdown of what is your goal in that situation? We want you to leave. You're blocking us. Oh, no, I want you to stay and get out of your car. It's a confusion. It's a blatant breakdown of policy. The shooter drives past because the shooter's goal was to get past. The goal met. This person is out of your existence. That's it. You're done. You violated policy there to go back and escalate the situation. So I'm trying to meet people there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you have worked in public safety for many years. You have organized, you've led teams, you've written procedure. And you and I were talking about it, and you said the blatant truth, which is, in what you did, if we wanted people to leave the premises, we didn't stop them from leaving the premises, especially after we said to go.
In public safety, I would train $7 50-hour college freshmen, and I had no money to do it. And if the goal is to have them leave the property and you stop them from that, then we have done wrong. Then we are liable. And if any action happens after that, then we are just escalating. That was me training 19-year-old kids. And I'm not an expert in this situation, but I've personally arrested hundreds of people, man. I've been deposed. I've been on the jury. I've been in court, in a courtroom in front of a judge, speaking, giving testimony, and watching that. As I even watched the footage today, that is the breakdown. And for a 10-year vet, that's why I bring that up too. I bring it up, Alden, because to say these clowns are untrained is true for others, and we're seeing examples of that. To be clear. Only
everyone after
hours of training.
We can assume.
Probably, I think all that stuff is true, but that's not the case in this situation. This is a 10-year veteran of this agency who, as we now know, thanks J.D. Vance, 6 months ago was run over by a car because of actions he took there. Got himself got his dick twisted in the fan on a bad situation there, and he knows better. He knows better, and that's my point. And if he's ever brought into trial, that's what the prosecuting attorneys would try to get on. Again, watch Legion Miller's video, everybody.
Yeah.
She breaks it down. She's more eloquent than me about because she starts from the point of I'm starting up. It's murder, but here's where we got to meet them at if we're going to kind of get justice out of this, and also probably not going to get justice. So what's next? How do we keep fighting? I think that's kind of where I'm at too, if any of that makes sense.
No,
and I love producer Steve's comment about Kristi Noem's hat. That hat has me irrationally angry because it's a cosplay. It's a cosplay. Like Gregory Bovino's, all 5'3" of him is cosplaying as a tough guy. And you saw what they did in the Target in Minnesota. I think it was yesterday. I don't know when I saw the footage late last night. They arrested 2 high school age workers at Target who are legal citizens. And Bovino's right involved, puffing up his feathers. JD Vance, the ability for him to sell the lie is so dangerous. It's so dangerous.
Yeah, because he's not actually a person. Like, he's not actually a person. He is whatever. And this is not a partisan criticism, because I've said the same thing about people like Hillary Clinton. He is whatever JD Vance he needs to be when he wakes up that day. He has no principles. He has no morals. He has proven that he will sell his own wife and children up the river for even 1% more favor with the pedophile that he works for. He has nothing. Nobody has ever been more justified than wanting to do drugs than his mother. Like, this is a contemptible person. This is a contemptible person. He is so... Yeah, that was funny. Sorry, y'all. I had to. But what I'm saying is true. He is so vile. In a way that they all are uniquely vile. They all have different flavors, but like
they are uniquely vile. Yeah, that's a good way to say it.
They're all uniquely. Yeah, like they don't like obviously we all hate Trump the most for longevity reasons, for being a sex criminal, for like
I mean the
amount
head
of
of
stuff he's
snake.
done. Yeah, going back to the 70s. But like at this point, he is a dementia-ridden like sack of flesh that they just give the talking points to and govern through. Like it really is Vance and Miller and Teal, and I don't know how in Bannon is. It feels like he's in and out depending on the week.
Which is dangerous in a way, but yeah,
who knows? But it's all of those people. But Vance is the one that he doesn't have a soul. Like, and a lot of them don't. But like for him to be out there saying you don't have to apologize for being white anymore, stoking white supremacy. It's like, okay, well, they're killing white women now, dude. I thought those were the ones that you liked. You obviously like them more than you like your own wife. So I'm just curious, like, what's the line for you? And then the truth is that there is no line. Is that all he sees? He's kind of like the sniveling dark side version of Newsom, who is really the white sniveling version of Obama. So it's just, everybody's doing a riff on somebody. But like, all he sees is President Vance.
There's no original gimmicks, brother.
No, there's not. He's stealing.
We're all doing Nature Boy Buddy Rogers.
Dude, and Vance is, I don't know what Vance is doing. Vance is working. Vance is trying to be, I think, kind of like a smug sort of like Bobby the Brain, has an answer for everything, but it ain't coming off that way. And honestly, part of this too is probably just like he doesn't have a spine or like any sense of self because of his experiences. But it's like, we've seen the pictures of you doing drag back in school, man. You should have just kept doing that. And I don't mean that as a joke. I mean, you genuinely should have just stayed trying to be a person after the shitty childhood that you had and expressed yourself.
Yeah.
But you have proven that you're just going to cozy up to power. He should honestly, in a just world that we don't live in, he would be standing trial too for obstruction, for being an accessory, for giving false testimony, for all the things that he, outside of just being a war criminal, which they are, because they're committing war crimes all the time. Like even before the Venezuela invasion, there was still these extrajudicial killings with no evidence happening at sea. And like, it's like, we're just going to move on from that. But we have gotten to that point now. And for anyone, especially in the American right wing, to be like, well, when Maduro was bad, he went after his own citizens.
Oh,
he was bad. He was bad. He did what? He was bad. He did what exactly?
Yeah.
What did he do? Well, then we should just allow any president anywhere to come kidnap JD Vance, his wife, throw Erica in there too. I don't know if it's a throuple situation.
She's
who knows?
probably she's probably one in the bed. The wife is in the guest room.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, like fucking, it's the worst, man. These people are disgusting. And yeah, as we see in the comments here, the prospect of JD in 2028 or sooner. That's the thing, is that he doesn't need to wait that long. He's already launching that. But yeah, the possibility of him being president before 2028 is extremely high. It's medically, scientifically high.
I don't know what the Cauchy polymarket votes are, but you know, it's probably an easy, not a big winning bet because it's so.
We can't even go down that road. We don't have enough time to go down the road of the insider trading on briefings now that is happening because of the congressional loser Caroline Leavitt, who's, by the way, I didn't know this until recently. Caroline Leavitt's husband was in his 20s when she was born, or something like that. Party of family values, baby.
Well, you know, how many youth pastors are grooming the 14-year-olds in their congregation right now?
I know. Let's run the numbers on pastors and priests versus drag queens and see if it shakes out as close at all.
But honestly, that has had. I told you before a conversation I had with my mother in which I kind of called that bluff and gave that detail, and she had to. I mean, it was right. Again, doesn't move the ball forward as much as you'd like.
But again, we're talking about all of this dystopian nightmare shit. An under-discussed story, and someone can get me the exact. I'm gonna say what I remember of it, and apologies if I get the title wrong, whatever. But I think it's like the Diocese of New York is currently going over like the $300 million that they have to pay out in like fees and settlements and like all this shit. Like they're still doing it. And as Bill Burr once said pre-Saudi, they move these guys around like killer whales, like from aquarium to aquarium, tank to tank. It's a crock of shit. I pulled this up. We were talking though about what you were saying about the at least 10 to 15 procedural steps that these guys fucked up on before this murder. And it's this post that I saw here. The original post was, a woman is expected to remain completely calm as an armed white supremacist thug tries to forcibly open her car, but the ICE agent is allowed to panic and shoot. And someone said, this was a Cassie Pritchard who wrote this. This is really one of the more galling parts of the discourse every time it pops up. Random American civilians are supposed to be calm, disciplined, ice water in their veins, but the armed agent of the state is entitled to take life based on his feelings. And it's like, at what point, like, we've talked about this enough, and with Black lives, and obviously Black lives do not matter to a lot of people in this country. They've proven that repeatedly. Like Rodney King was before I was born. Trayvon was already like 15 years ago. Like, we can keep going. There's countless examples. And you would think that maybe some of these people would wake up when the demographic that they prop up above all POC, the white woman, has now been affected, but they won't because the cognitive dissonance is just that wide. But truly, it comes down to that. Like, is the option that you have here obey or die? And if the option is obey or die, then the entire thing needs to be burnt to the ground. And you've seen a lot now.
I agree with that. Yes, 100%.
Like abolition is the moderate position. That's become a thing that people say now, and it's true. It should be prosecutions. It won't happen because they've already protected this guy. But that's what should happen. And if we're not acknowledging that this is a failed, corrupt state, not the state of Minnesota, but the nation, if you don't start there, then I don't know. Even if you don't agree, if it's someone like your parents or family members that I have, whatever, even if you don't agree, it should tell you something in your heart that you even have to discuss the things at all about where we are at, because this does not happen other places. It just doesn't. Right. Same as with school shootings. Like, this doesn't happen other places. Right. Yeah. It's a unique American problem, and we still want to act though like it's our hemisphere. Yeah. Like,
No, it's still one of the simplest points of you see video games, violent video games, rock music, and depression are everywhere. Why are we the only country that leads to mass shootings and death time and time again? Yeah, no, I agree with them. No, absolutely, no, and that tweet about the comment or the tweet post, whatever you want to call these days. That's kind of what I don't even want to say my point, but that's kind of where I want to meet some of those folks on the talking points. Is yes, she wasn't calmly sitting in her car crocheting and was asked to move and then calmly drove away and was murdered. That's not what happened. What's happened is you forced her into a situation in which she has not probably been in before, an amazing stressful rush of adrenaline in a fight or flight moment, and you forced her into a situation that you twisted into split-second justification to kill her. That's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not even the use of force continuum. That is not even proper engagement. And there's been a lot of TikToks and reels of, hi, I'm a 30-year FBI vet. Hi, I'm this guy. Hi, I fought in this war. And I think you should listen to every one of them if they're legit, more than me. But this is base level shit. And like you said, obey or die is not the way. I agree with that statement strongly.
It's not beyond just not feasible. Like, it's not even moral. But again, like we've crossed that bridge. Like, it gets said a lot, like there's no hate like God's love, and like that's a blanket statement. But like what we're seeing now with again, pretense is gone. They're running events where they're saying, don't apologize for being white. It's a Christian nation, a statement which is false. And now, like, that white Christo-fascism, which many of us have been pointing out, again, being a progressive means being right too early. It's out there now. Like, that's what we're running. We're running a Christo-fascist, white supremacist state where the private army of the executive can just kill you. They are better funded than most of the world's militaries now after the spending of last year.
And like ours, right? I mean, well, not overall, but like
they're up there. Yeah,
in terms of agencies and everything. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they are running the exact same playbook that the IDF runs, by design, because who do you think came up with the IDF playbook? America, baby. And yeah. I mean, it's bleak.
Don't forget the emerging German political party in the 1920s into the 30s. YouTube hates that, right? Literally have said on record going, yeah, we looked at your Jim Crow laws and posted. We're like, that's a great idea. That should work here. We're just going to add some uniforms to it. Yeah.
I mean, we can go all the way back to, you can honestly, someone said, can we pinpoint the moment in history? It's a viral post that goes around a lot. Can we pinpoint the moment in history where it all went to shit? And a lot of people point out the administrations here and in the UK of Reagan and Thatcher. But honestly, dude, you could back it all the way up to Sherman. You could back it all the way up to Sherman not going far enough on the South. Like, it has, like,
Reconstruction. We're still fighting civil war.
Yeah, dude, our country's like fear. We love to get our hands dirty again when it's other people because we love to feel great. But our country's inability to reckon with or punish when necessary has gotten us here. In 2020, when Joe Biden won, he should have spent every day of the next 4 years of his miserable fucking vanilla ice cream existence punishing people for the crimes that took place in the previous administration. The crimes, not for their opinions, the crimes. And instead it was if it's not a problem anymore, we could just ignore it and we'll just move on. People will fall in line because of unity. People do not want unity.
You know what it was, Alden? It was Endor. We thought on January 7th, 2021, the battle was over. Y-wings and A-wings and X-wings were flying above us with fireworks. The enemy is vanquished. What are you talking about? They're massing in another part of the galaxy. What are you talking about? They're using the same uniforms and ships. What are you talking about? We won. We danced. Fireworks. Didn't you see? I
mean, there's that viral tweet that is going around a lot now, which I think is very annoying because it's that one that's like, I still don't like the Star Wars sequels, but I can no longer fault them for running with the premise that the same evil returned 20 years later, but dumber. And it's like, well, first of all, you shouldn't need right now in history to have told you that happens, because it has always happened. And that is the point. How did they write this screenplay with this idea pre-Trump? They were pulling from something. So just the fact that you didn't notice it is a whole other thing. But I'm not trying to turn this into you guys don't understand the sequels conversation, even though most of you don't. It is. I'm
You
sorry.
need one of these. You need one of these mustaches.
You don't. You just. I'll try. Dude, I'll take it. At this point, I'll take it, and then I'll just pray every day that it starts to grow out and connect. But it's true. I mean, and I've joked before on this show and in other places, like I'm tired of people trying to identify what Star Wars we're in. But like sometimes it has become very clear. I mean, everybody wants to share the Andor quotes of they don't have to even lie anymore. You know, that's the final humiliation or Mothma's speech or anything. And it's like, I get that. But I also really want to encourage people, if you love genre fiction and you're sharing Andor quotes and stuff, also share the parts in Andor where they went after these fuckers. Share those too. Don't just share, you know, defeatist political talk, you know, the West Winginess of the show. Like, why don't you share the part where Bix went and found the guy that tortured him, and then blew up his lab? Like, I'm not saying we need to torture people and blow people up, you know, just in case Palantir or whatever.
Google Gemini just knocked on my door.
You know what you people should do? You people should get over your animation bias, and you should watch and engage and read Bad Batch stuff. I'm reading this one right now. An episode. This is a story that takes place during season 2, where because there is no government money and there is no good infrastructure for Pabu, they have to go do jobs to try to earn money so they can rebuild their community and stand together after tragedy, because no one's coming to help you except the people around you, your neighbors. That's what this book's about. Some of you will never know that because you've convinced yourselves that only the show with attempted rape in it is worthy of discussion. You're wrong about that, but here we are. Man,
let him cook. Let him cook.
Ken is saying let him cook now?
Oh, that's already 3 years old.
The slang is seeping. I know, but like we're at the scale backwards. That means in 3 more years you'll be saying aura and stuff like that, like we say now.
I don't know what that means. I don't know what you and Eli talk about. No, well said. I know we're slipping into Star Wars talk, but
we are.
I agree that
it's frustrating. It's just frustrating.
Yeah, it's anger. Sad. It's a lot of sadness this week. A lot of pain, a lot of needless pain. Tensions are high all around. So let's all huddle up and heal and care and find the right ways to, as David Mackay reminds us, fight the empire. And that's a multi-angled theater of war, right?
Yeah. All we can do is try to, again, the truth is so important right now. It is, especially in the next week or two, as the story cements, like we're in a battle right now, ideologically and even linguistically, to decide how she gets remembered and how the incident gets remembered. And they have already decided, much like how you can go to whitehouse.gov right now and read horse shit propaganda about what happened on January 6th.
Written by a guy with a mustache like mine.
Including an entire tab about Mike Pence being a traitor and a failure, which is pretty funny. He deserves that. He deserves that for having tied himself to it at all. I don't feel bad when they turn on each other. I think it's great. But it's, and even right now, 2 minutes ago, mainstream pundits and some Democrats calling for money to ICE for training. Meanwhile, ICE agent who shot Renee Good was a firearms trainer per the testimony. So it's like,
even more. He wasn't just some bumbling YouTube fool who didn't know, was tossed out there. Even more concern about this happening by those who should be leading your agency. Yeah, no, that's almost like a different issue, but it's part of what's going. It's part that is a fact, and we need to deal with those facts because those are evidence of what is wrong on a grand scale.
Is that you want to talk about shatterpoint moments in our country's history, like when
I don't read Star Wars Legends, man.
Oh yeah. I say that sometimes even forgetting why I know the phrase. Right. It's like when we allowed the alternative facts thing to happen 10 years ago and we just like let that ride. Again, this is the story of the Trumpian era, is just shrugging it off, having losers like Schumer and Jeffries in charge who shrug at everything. And we've been doing that. And we allowed them to devalue what a fact is. It's like, I have a day job, as you have many jobs, as many people have many jobs. At my day job the other day, somebody, a guest was, upset about something and was telling me something that is demonstrably not true. And it was early in the morning and I was feeling a little sassy. And I was just like, ma'am, I'm not doing the up is down, sky is green thing with you. And she just like was shocked. I was just like, I'm not doing it. I was like, I'm telling you that I know what I'm talking about. I've been doing this job. I'm telling you a fact. It's not up for debate. It's a fact.
Yeah. It's a fact.
She was just like stunned. And, I think there needs to maybe be, this is not applicable, not one size fits all. Obviously, you're not going to go do this with your parents. I wouldn't encourage that people do it with older folk in general if it could be avoided, because I have more empathy now for the olds than I ever have at any point in my life. But the anger and trying to debate them with facts is obviously not working. But you know what does work? It does work. Speaking of Minnesota, making fun of them. Walls had it. Like when it comes to this, yes, it's very serious, and yes, somebody was murdered. So I'm not saying make light of it. But when somebody says, well, she hit him and he flew back, I'm giving you permission. I'm not speaking for Ken. I, Alden Diaz, am giving you permission to make fun of those people. Laugh at them. Demand that they show you the video. Laugh at them and say, really? Show me. Make fun of them. Undermine them. Make them James Tallarico in Texas is excellent at this, because he's a make fun. He's not as bitey as maybe I would like him or any of you to be, but he does this thing where he leaves really long pregnant pauses in his lines of questioning to allow the other person to just be an idiot. There's that they were trying to pass that law of we should have the 10 Commandments in classrooms, right? Same thing that Louisiana did. The 10 Commandments, which it should be noted for those playing at home, are not the word of Christ. They have nothing to do with Christ. As Kurt Vonnegut has pointed out, note that the American Christian right never wants the Beatitudes, the Beatitudes, Sermon on the Mount. They never want that displayed in the classroom, ever. You never hear anybody asking for that. But they wanted the 10 Commandments in, and they're trying to force it through. It's the weekend. It's like a special weekend session. And James Tallarico sits there and goes, what is the fourth commandment? And the lady fumbles, the Sabbath. And he's like, what day is the Sabbath? Like, he just allow them to expose themselves for being dumb. And with this, it works. Telling you all fair. My mother dealt with somebody who said, oh, I saw the video and that car hit the officer. He flew back like 5 feet. And my mom said, did you see that or did you hear it? And she goes, well, I saw it. And it's like, no, you didn't. Show me if you saw it. Expose to me that you don't know how to actually synthesize an idea. That because it's like I've said on this show before, you're out there picking up ideas and just equipping them. You're just like, well, this is what I think now. Click. And I know that's how most people vote, but it's at that point now where it's like people are being killed. The state is murdering people. Shout out the 2A people that never do anything. Shout out. You guys are awesome. You guys are my favorite. You guys are awesome. You guys are my favorite fucking cosplayers. There is no difference between a 2A guy at this point and like a revolutionary or Civil War reenactor. You are the same. You are the same type of guy at this point because you're just as big of a fantasy LARPer.
You reserve the park on a Saturday, bring snacks, and play.
You guys are literally eating Little Caesars, pretending that you were at Gettysburg. That is how I feel about you.
We may be on, we might not be on. It's hard to tell. We back?
You're good.
I'm back.
Yeah, you just froze for me.
Everything went completely blank on my screen. I think Planeteer found us. I think we're good. I think Christy Nome came back. She's at my front door in her fucking 13-gallon cowboy hat. Anyways, starting to wrap up.
Pretty much the end.
No, it's great. And one of the things you said, and this is talking about where I'm kind of at with my life, is you said a statement that I've always loved, which is there's no hate like God's love or whatever that phrase is. I'm really trying to, because it's accurate in a lot of ways. I'm trying to now go. There's no hate like the way men in power have completely misused God's love, right? That's my battle now. So out there, find your battles. Find where you want to meet people at, and think about your results, or think about your goals. Are we here to change, win? It's different for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's kind of where my mind is this week after a tragic week that's still going.
Yeah.
Still going.
Yeah. And I just on behalf of the show and both of us and good people in the comments, all of our friends. Obviously, we didn't say this. It's implied, but obviously, I just want to say love to everybody, of course, and her family. Love to her child. May her child grow up to know that mom stood up for other people, and is loved and is now inspiring others. Doesn't bring her back, obviously, but in the same way that I do genuinely mean it. And I said awful things about JD Vance on Blue Sky, which I stand by, but I also did throw in, I hope his children grow up and choose a path that is different. I hope that they don't fall for poisonous delusions. I hope that they grow up and realize that he's deceitful. It's hard. I have a father that I think is morally kind of contemptible. I'm not saying that's an easy thing, and he's not hurting people worldwide. So I think about the kids a lot when stuff like this happens across the board. I don't know if Jonathan Ross has kids. Unfortunately, if he does, their father's a murderer, and I hope that they find the help that they need to deal with that too, because that also can't be easy. When your parent does something like that, I'm sure that's horrific. I don't even know. That's a whole other thing. Last note, I just wanted to throw in, just because I don't know if it's breaking now, but I'm seeing it on Democracy Now! From 9 minutes ago. The Senate has advanced war powers resolution to limit the Venezuela actions. Tim Kaine sponsored it. And surprisingly, of the 5 Republicans that backed Tim Kaine, Josh Hawley
did.
Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting?
I saw that. We'll lighten the load. We'll lighten the mood to end the show here. I saw that and went, God damn it. I fucking hate him. But all right. And Trump has already called for him to not win an election again.
Yeah, because if you don't fall in line with daddy, he turns.
Yeah. You're Dooku with 2 blades in front of Anakin, looking over going, wait, me too?
Yeah. Yeah, you too, man.
That was the deal?
Palpatine's looking at you
Anakin had blades to him. Sorry, I messed it up.
Palpatine's like, why would I ever pick you? Like, it's such an inevitable. Yeah. Anyway, I just want to end it with there. Last thing.
The ACA. Sorry. The ACA also moving forward too.
Yes. Yeah. The extensions. Ken, what's something good coming up this weekend for you? Doesn't have to be something you're working on, but like, what is the next thing that you're gonna do for yourself? You're gonna. I was blessed. Blessed to have some work. I'm finishing up this week. Had a writing project all week and moving forward with that. I am traveling home. I'm gonna probably try to avoid a lot of these conversations with my parents, because I got one night with them, and time is always short in lives. But I want to be best prepared to win these conversations about the news of the week or whatever comes up, that it's not about anger and going into corners, but it's about meeting them at where they feel, what they feel they see or think about this, and trying to refute it with facts. When I call Stephen Miller a Nazi, it's not because I think I disagree with his policies. It's because he quoted Joseph Goebbels' 1934 speech at Charlie Kirk's firework funeral. That's why I call him that. And that's where I'm going to be this week, and that's a good thing. You? Yeah, and if I'm gonna continue. I'm in a Star Wars mood, as we're in a big year for Star Wars. So I'm reading a book. I'm replaying Survivor. I'm gonna go to the movies and check out the new Bradley Cooper film. Is This Thing On? A new stand-up based film.
Oh yeah.
That is based on. Oh, I'm blanking on the gentleman's name. It's based on the life of that British comic who used to be a football player. You familiar? Let me get the name before we close. Is This Thing On?
Maybe someone from the UK would tell us.
It's Bradley Cooper directing.
John Bishop.
Thank you so
David
much,
Mackay.
David. It's based on the life of John Bishop, but it's loosely, and now he's an American character played by Will Arnett. And there's a lot of real stand-ups in it, and they did a lot of shooting at the Comedy Cellar. And I've heard it's great. I'm excited to see it. I'll let you know how it is.
I'm gonna watch it at home. Stand-up movies. They're always interesting. I enjoy movies that are about stand-up that aren't stand-up, like Crazy Heart. Star is Born.
Sure.
But I'm gonna give this one a shot. You let me know.
Indeed.
You let me know.
I will.
All
will,
right.
folks. So anyway, we'll see you
There
next
you
week.
go. Mustache will be gone by next week. Thank God. But I did it. I'll have it on for Force Center 2. And I just got booked for a stand-up show tonight. Probably not going to have time to shave it, so I'll be out in the public like this, Alden.
Oh, man.
Slanging jokes.
Time to write new material about the stash.
We'll see that. We'll see that. All right, everybody. Appreciate y'all. We'll see you. Bye.